Good morning, everybody, and happy Monday. Let's see what happens here. We are still holding back sellers here. Kind of want to jump in. What do we have here? Take profits. Kind of want to jump into some take profits here. We are kind of rejecting. Let's see if we have where's our lines here? Yeah, we're already back at the breakout zone that we drew on Friday here. So, well, if we got that breakout zone, I'd be looking for a potential of like 18s if we actually broke out of that. Because if we're holding this base support here, which is where we were rejecting earlier, that 986, if we come back down, we hold that. Like, that'd be a beautiful trade if we got it all the way back down there and going for the breakout zone. But I don't know if we're going to get that. That's the thing. I don't know if we're going to get that. So we got to wait. We got to be patient. We are coming back down to earth here. We're seeing if we're holding up the base support. If we hold this base support, I want to try to take a long here. Let's see. We're right at that base support line. So, if that holds, I think it's good enough for a test of a long here. Let's see. Let's watch. You can see right here above me, position 0. We're currently flat. Had a lot of liquidity up there at 23,000. If we would have broke that out, we could have potentially gone whacking up at that 23,004. This looks like it may want to hold here. Chart is quite messy. A lot of noise in this area. Oh my God. That's to be expected. When we don't have a lot of news, we're going to hang around in these zones and continue to print liquidity in these areas. See if we want to reclaim this base support, if we want to use this as a rejection point. All right, bottom of the hour. Let's see what happens here. Nothing because we don't have any news, but any liquidity coming in, we are rejecting it at 86 quarters, which is that base support. So if we are rejecting there, we could try to get the push back down. I just don't know if it's strong enough for us to jump into a trade yet. To the downside, rather. So we're still trying to fight above this base support line, by the way. I'm gonna try long here. We've been stalking this trade for a hot minute. There we go. I'm gonna try a long here, using the base support as our support line, believe it or not. If we do auction up above this area, we'll be targeting above 23,000. If we come back below this area, we're gonna be looking for adding around 78. If we break below 78, we'll kill the trade. That's what we're looking for. So right now we have some bid support in the S&Ps here. We've been fighting around this area. We don't have a lot of like crazy news that's going to make this position go crazy, unless we got a breaking news headline. So we're just trying to trade around the fact that we are currently in an uptrend that just rejected. If we do fight above this area of support and we actually hold this, we start wicking above these 990s, I think this trade can develop quite nicely and we can potentially go for that breakout long above 23,000. So right now rejecting underneath the mid of the zone here. Like I said, if it comes back down to 97 and we don't find a baseline of support there, we'll kill the trade. If it does find some support, that'll be a zone that we can add to. All right, we're at 97 here. If it doesn't hold here, we're killing this. Killing the trade. All right, we're currently holding these 97s. We have a little bit of baseline support here. We can reclaim 80. It's a nice little spot here. All right, we're going to add right here for a potential reclaim of this 80 area. So we're now 2 contracts per account. Stops are now below 70 for this trade idea. Pop above 80 means that we have a potential of retesting above these 90s, but there is a lot of selling pressure coming in. There's a baseline support here at 70 that we can use as a backstop. Right now we are seeing Nvidia kind of rolling out, Microsoft kind of rolling out. Very slow price action here. Still sellers on this tape, rejecting at the weekly and daily open. If this thing can find liquidity, we're going to take a short here. If this thing can find liquidity below 58, it would get very pressured to the downside. If this thing gets back above 76, we're going to kill this short. Because we're using right now 73 through 78 sort of as a backstop. Because there's a lot of liquidity up there, and if they sweep at that liquidity very quickly, then we can use that as sort of sellers are on the tape. We'll bring it back lower. We'll sweep back down below that 58 level. Find continuation. All right, using that as a backstop now. 71 is rejecting. We are coming lower here. If we can break below this 65 area, that area of interest has a lot of orders stacked underneath 63.05 down there in the S&Ps as well. So potential nice little breakdown below 60 here brings us that sweep of 58 that we're talking about. But we have to get that breakdown first. Watching here on these 60s. We're right at 63.05 in the S&P, so this can be a tremendous breakdown. But we have to have the liquidity to sell through. That confident push. Also watching here on Bookmap if we have any overhead supply coming through here. You can see there's a lot of iceberg orders there at 60. We just have to have enough liquidity to punch through to the other side of that. So right here on the S&P 63.05, if there's not enough liquidity to push through, we would see this probably bouncing up to maybe 75 on the NAS. Should have some liquidity coming in about 7 minutes too, top of the hour, 6-7 minutes. So we can use all of that liquidity up at 73 to 77 as a backstop here. Iranian president says Israel tried to assassinate him, so that's going to be good for our position here. Not that I like to hear that, but that's going to be great for the position here. Somehow, surprisingly, we're holding the VWAP on that. That's kind of crazy, to be honest. I would expect that we could see more of a flush on that. Seriously? Why is this so slow? Okay, there you go. Breaking through that liquidity there. I'm shocked that the NASDAQ is not moving faster than this. Trade for Freedom says this still has a long way to go down. Yeah, I mean, the problem is that we just don't have a lot of liquidity right now in this market. So even though things like that can seem fairly obvious, we just don't have a lot of liquidity right now. So all it takes is one player that wants to cover, and yeah, we're presented with a whole different situation. Well, it's news because it makes way. The market is, remember, we're trading the futures. We're trading a forward-facing market here, and the markets can react sharply on something like that because if they follow through with retaliation saying, well, we launched missiles into Israel now because they tried to assassinate me, that's sort of what the futures are dunking for, you know? This is Bookmap Live right now. Here's my trade going on over here, by the way. We longed, boom, boom, boom. We covered, and then we went short, and then we covered most of it, and then here we are still short. We're still riding this mucho lower. And we still are coming lower here. I can fancy moving my stop down a little bit here, actually. I'm gonna move my stop thusly. Stop's at 955 evens now. So we're locking a little bit more profit here. We're trading 6,300 in the S&P right now. Will that be the lower end of the extension, TBD? Let's see what happens, shall we? 3 minutes till the market opens. 3 minutes, everybody. Tres leches. 3 more minutes until the party gets started here. What's going to happen? Nobody knows. See if we get a bunch of liquidity entering into this market now. We are currently holding at that 935 area for the time being, but market looks a little crazy. Almost getting stopped out here. And stopped out. Cool. 1420 per account. Nice. I like it. Going crazy. All those shorts getting clapped. That's why we just set it and forget it. Put a stop in and we just leave it. Let it do its thing. Market's potentially going for those 23,000. No hesitation here. Except for 75. 75 first hesitation. Whoa, there's a seller. Hello. Nvidia is getting cracked here to the upside. It's going crazy. Got a lot of bid support there at those 70s. It's getting rinsy though up here. Google's going straight down. Microsoft's coming straight down. Violently too. My goodness. So we came up to 75. We found sellers up there. Heavy, heavy sellers, but we are just kind of dancing between 63.03 and 63.08 in the S&Ps here. Still seeing some dramatic selling. Microsoft still selling. Nvidia pulling back a little bit. This is some wild tape, I'm not gonna lie. This is some crazy, crazy tape because we find like what looks like dramatic sellers. We've sold down to 6,300 in the S&Ps and then they just kind of chill. Apple is pulling back in dramatic fashion right now. There's a lot of liquidity up there at 63.05 in the S&Ps. I wonder if we're gonna try to take that out. We're threatening the break of 6,300 in the S&Ps right now. See if this break wants to hold below 6,300 in the S&Ps. 920 is the level to watch here in the NASDAQ. A lot of liquidity there at those 920s. If it can't break that 920 to the downside, this thing will potentially hold and bounce back up to 63.05 in the S&Ps. So a lot of liquidity there at 920. Holy smokes, it's really dragging down. Holy smokes. That is crazy. Holy God. Jiminy Christmas, that thing really just, whoo-wee. That thing rained down like some hellfire. You gotta think that we were appreciative enough to catch that there. 14,755. Top to bottom, ladies and gentlemen. Top to bottom. Oh, God. He's done it again. He's done it again. Good old Percy Jackson brings us up to almost $250,000 balance.